Well, hey everybody, how y'all doing? Night one. First speaker is on tap. She's here in the building, in the house. Hey, Miss Dena.
Hey, Nina, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited about what you're doing. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yes, we are excited because we are wise women who slay. We slay.
Yes, we
We
do.
slay.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of share with the audience, the purpose of these small videos is to just capture or help others see how each age group is living as a wise woman in their age group. And I have some pre-selected questions that I'm going to ask each of the ladies each night in these videos. And so Dena gets to be our first participant of these questions. And, just a little bit of background about Dena. We actually just met since the pandemic, and but I was just so excited when I believe she reached out to me, or I might have reached out to her. I don't even remember how that went because time has flown, hasn't it, Dena?
Yes, it has. I can't even believe that we are in the fall.
I know, the ninth month already. It's
Ninth month, and it's going to be 2021 before you know it.
I
Like, wow.
know. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that's just crazy.
Uh,
But
yeah. It's so funny because it went so fast, but it seemed like it went so slow. Everything at once. It's like you stood still, but the time was going fast. And it's a crazy time since when did we start this pandemic? March, I think.
March, March.
March. Yeah.
hmm Yeah,
Ooh,
because I was working, and they told us go home. We don't know when you're coming back, and it was like mid March.
right.
And
Right.
yeah, so it's
Surreal. Yeah.
yeah, it's surreal. So much has happened. We've lost some very famous celebrities during this year, actually.
Yeah.
They've kind of, when I think about that, even though I'm kind of getting off track, I think it's still appropriate because, one of the things that we plan to do with Wise Women Slay, one of our tenets is to leave legacy.
Mm. Hmm.
And two of the people that passed away, I know they left legacy. I didn't know them. Kobe
Right.
Bryant is
Hmm.
one. And we
Hmm.
know that he left us in the beginning, I think it was in
Hmm.
January, February when he passed. And then recently, Chadwick Boswick, I believe is his
Yeah.
last name.
Yeah.
And especially with Chadwick, well, both of them, but with Chadwick, how he persevered,
Oh, yes.
you
That's a
know,
wonderful lesson.
a powerful lesson,
Oh.
and how he didn't let his illness, and he
Mhm.
was, because I guess he was diagnosed in 2006
Yeah.
and 16, excuse
Mhm.
me, 16, and he died in 2020, and he made several movies during that time.
Yeah, that's just amazing. I mean, he was literally working hard,
Right.
physically, during that time. And yeah, a lot to learn by his, behavior because most people don't do that, you know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he did not let it stop him. And that's what I see as a wise woman, that regardless of our situations,
Mhm.
that we are not going to let them overtake us. In fact, we triumph over them.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, we've got that mindset.
Mhm.
And and I'll be sharing throughout the week, ladies, that the things that, what are the components of a wise woman? I want you all to be thinking as we go through the week, what do you see the components of that wise woman? Because I want everyone to share, through the chats during this week. Just voice your opinions. We're at home. You don't have to dress up. Just wear whatever you want to wear. Get your favorite beverage. Take some notes. Be ready to share and to enjoy each other's company, because I know some of us probably haven't been able to interact with anybody for too long periods of time because of where we've been kind of isolated,
Yeah. Yeah.
and especially if you don't have a spouse or someone living in your home, it can be very challenging.
Right.
And so this is an opportunity this week for us to be able to talk with one another, meet new people, and just enjoy each other as we age. So we're going to go ahead and get to it and ask Miss Dena Lynn these questions. And afterwards, then we're going to talk about who Dena is. We're going to find out who she is. So, Miss Dena,
Yes, ma'am.
question number one.
Hmm.
How did you feel on your birthday when you turned 50?
I felt great. I did. I just, I don't know. I felt powerful, strong, like, looking back on, my life and the things that I've been through and I feel good. I'm healthy. Um, I'm thriving. I felt really good. I really did. And, it's so funny because, I was working at the time, obviously, right? And there are a lot of young people under me, right? And when I turned 50, I just felt, a little bit like, they needed to respect their elders, and I had no problem putting people in their place anymore, at work. And it was almost freeing, I guess. I felt free to express myself the way
Empowering.
right. The way I really am. So I loved it. I loved it.
Oh, great,
I
great.
earned all these years. I love it. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think once we get to those older years, we see the value in so many ways.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
just like you said, feeling free to express or put people in their place. And I know you did it in a very polite way, but an
Hey,
empowering way. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And, speaking of feeling free, on a personal note, I even felt free to let my gray hair come out, which, so yeah, it was, I loved it. Great. I
That,
highly recommend it. It's so funny because when we're young, we think 50 is old, right?
Mhm.
I don't know about you, Nina, but I thought that way, right?
Mhm.
But it's not. I feel vibrant, young, like, okay, I'm ready. Like, what's up? What's next?
You know what? That gray hair thing, I fought it. I think I really started noticing, I always had a little bit of gray, just inherited, but it really started coming out more so when I was 45 into 50 and on up. And for a while there, I was coloring it every 2 weeks,
Yeah, yeah. So
and,
is I.
and
Yeah.
I got tired of it because it was like, this gray hair is coming through. It says, no, you're not going to cover me up.
Nope, nope, nope. So you just embraced it, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I am in agreement with that. The
Yeah.
gray hair come on out, and you know what? I think I have gotten more compliments, and I'm sure you have
Hmm.
since
Hmm.
you let your hair go gray, and we
Yeah.
just keep it up,
Yeah,
nice little.
totally. And Nina, it is so funny that it coincided, I think, shortly after I noticed more and more people were, letting their hair go. And it actually became a trend, a style. And a young girl, I was in a shop, picking at a deli or something like that. She comes up to me and she asked me, "Who colored your hair that way?" And I'm like, this is all mine. She literally was looking for someone to dye her hair this color. And I'm like,
Wow.
wow. And she was young. She had to be in her 20s. Like, wow.
Yeah,
Well, it's
yeah,
a trend now. It's like fashion. So,
yeah. It is. My daughter's actually she has a wig, and she's 35, and she doesn't wear it often, but it's a part of one of her collection of wigs.
right.
And it is. I mean, it can flatter you. It just depends on the
Yeah.
colors that you choose to wear.
Mhm.
Like I love black anyway, so it
Yeah.
just kind of brightens it up. But still, there's a lot like your color that you have on.
Right.
It helps to brighten us up, and
Right. Right.
it's
Right.
great.
Yeah, just a tip. I read that if you have this color hair, jewel tones,
Uh huh.
like this color, like emeralds and so forth, and black, right? Yeah, works well. So
Okay. Okay. That sounds good. So that's when you started feeling free to let your hair grow at age 50.
Really just being me,
Yeah, yeah,
and that was part of it.
yeah. So now,
Mhm.
okay, I know you're not 50. So what age are you now within the 50 range?
I am actually 56. I just turned 56 at the end of August.
Okay,
Yep,
okay,
I met
okay,
that milestone. Yes.
okay. And
Mhm.
so with from 50 on to 56, have you noticed any other changes, how you feel? And I'm not necessarily physically sure, but just mentally, emotionally, what about, has there been any changes from 50 now to 56?
Yeah, obviously growth, just being aware of what matters most in life, right? And I think more understanding with people,
Okay.
patience. I've always been an understanding person, but I think, I think I'm a little softer, right? Because I have this perspective of life and I can understand why people do what they do, right? Although sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not, but I understand and I'm a little softer. I give a little bit of leeway and I could be calm and try to express if I feel someone needs correction or advice and they're more inclined to take it. Maybe it's the gray hair, you know. But yeah, that's one of the things. Yeah, yeah. I love life. I think just another greater appreciation of life with each year. Nina, I lost my parents, surprisingly. I
Mhm.
lost my dad in 2015. That was unexpected. 2 years
Mm,
prior, I lost my mother. Right.
okay.
So, that happened, I was just turning 50 when I lost my mom,
Mhm.
right? And then 2 years later, I lost my dad. So, with that being said, I just have an awareness of mortality, right?
Yes, yes,
Just aware this isn't going to last forever, right?
yes.
What really matters most, you know? Um, Relationships, they matter most. Experiences, they matter most. um Things, the reality is when a person dies, you have to deal with their things. And I realized, do things really matter? No,
Mm,
this accumulation of things all your life, clothes and tchotchkes and this, that, and the other thing you got to have, whatever. It's not that important at the end of the day. So, that kind of maybe that sounds kind of morbid. I don't know.
no, no,
But
no. It's reality.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I just have an awareness of, that whole thing. What matters most in life? It's not things, it's people, relationships, experiences. It's the little things that get me so excited. I laugh a lot,
Mm,
probably more than I ever did, right? Um, Probably because of that, because I know it's like, don't worry about stuff. It's okay, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I love that because we have to it's almost like a reassessment of, like you said, what matters most,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
making those, because I lost both of my parents. My dad passed away in '08, and my mom passed in 2001.
Hmm.
And yeah, that was, those were, they were trying times, but reality set
Right,
in a lot
right.
of ways. So yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay, let's go on to question two. And this is we kind of talked about this a little bit, I think. Number two says, how old were you when you felt you had to fight back against getting older? How
Hmm.
old were you? Or
That,
have you even felt that yet?
that I had to fight back.
Or
I
against,
I never felt that way, actually.
okay.
I never did, Nina. With each age, I just, I embraced it. I was okay. You know, it's funny. My grandmother, whenever she lived a long time, my grandmother lived until she was 105 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What did
But
you have to look forward to?
yeah, but unfortunately she got dementia, so she, wasn't herself for a period of time. But when we talk about age, I always think about my grandmother, because my grandmother, everyone used to say, "Oh, Mama Ina, you look so good. How old are you?" And her comment was, "That is between me and God." She would never tell people her age. And I'm just the opposite. Like, I will tell people my age. Yeah, I'm this, I'm that. Like, I'm 42, I'm 50, I'm 55. Like, I earned these years. I love aging. I do. It's okay.
Yeah, I love that response.
Yeah.
Yeah, loving to age, because I think we don't, you've learned from your experiences, and you can see as time goes on uh how good it is. And
Yeah.
and you've learned some things. You've got something to say, you know.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
yeah, that's great. Okay, number three. Number three. At what age did your family start thinking of you as an older person? Or at what age did you start thinking of yourself as an older person?
Honestly, I think my family did. My children, you know, obviously they looked at me as mom. And I have a small family. My brother I have, and cousins. But I think when my mom got very sick, you
Okay.
know, and we knew that she wasn't going to make it, right? And between me and my brother, I'm the oldest,
Okay.
right? So I think during that whole process and her passing away, I felt like, okay, I'm the matriarch of the family
Yeah.
now,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
although my father was still alive, but and it is so funny because my father even kind of, you know, looked at me that way, I mean, yeah, it's just that was kind of mind blowing, because I'm like, wow, huh, I'm a
Yeah.
matriarch. Yeah, and then um, my cousin, my cousin, his father is my mother's brother.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he was very sick, and he passed away around the same time as my father, 2 years after my mother.
Okay.
And so we had this conversation, and he says, "Okay, so now I'm, I'm like my father, and you're like your mother, like Uncle Ray and Livia. They were brothers and sisters that, they were called Irish twins because they were really close, right?
Okay.
And literally, of that side of the family, like we are, you know, the older people, the matriarch, the patriarch,
Yeah.
right? And it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, I don't think about that a lot, but when I stop to think about it, I'm like, wow, huh?
Yeah. Isn't it something?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think about it when it comes to those family gatherings, like the Thanksgivings and especially Thanksgiving, because
right.
I remember my parents were hosted a lot of those, and
Mhm.
now it's like that has fallen on me, but it actually skipped me and my daughter. She took it up after my mom passed away. She just,
Yeah,
I'll do it now, mom. I said, okay, cool.
right, right. Yeah, and it the celebrations, family celebrations or get-togethers have changed,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Now, my daughter is not in my town. I mean, we all live separately, so my daughter has hosted things, at her house when she was living on the East Coast. Now she's living on the West Coast. So we have not celebrated a holiday, since she moved out there. We've gone out there, but not holiday time. So it's kind of strange, because I actually was watching something, and somebody had a line in a movie like, when grandma dies, like everything changes, right? And it's true. I think
yeah,
for a
yeah.
lot of families. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially when we live in I think it seems like we are transitioning to from our hometowns to different cities,
Mhm.
and maybe another branch is now, like if your daughter, I don't know if she's married or not, but if she does get married, has kids,
Yeah,
then
she does.
there's another, okay, and there's another segment of your family blooming in a
Mhm.
different city instead of everybody being together. which I'm sure it's always happened, but it just seems like it's happening more now, where uh,
Yeah.
our kids, because my daughter's in Texas,
Hmm.
and she was my only child, and so now it's just like if I want to do anything with her, I have to go there because they're a family of six, and it's
Yeah.
hard for them to come back here, which I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that being that matriarch patriarch, it is one of those. I am I?
Different flavor, when you think about it, right? And also, with that being said, like the image that I have of that when I hear matriarch, right? I'm thinking not necessarily my mother, interestingly enough, but my grandmother,
Mhm.
oldish and, oldish. What
Yeah,
can I say? Older people in prior generations, I think, were different
yeah,
than they are now,
they are now. I
right?
would
Is that
totally.
fair?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and as you were saying that, I thought about in what ways. Well, the education of us is different than it was like our grandparents. You know,
Right.
I think maybe my granddad might have had a 12th grade education,
Mhm,
maybe,
mhm,
because I remember he went to work in the factory at some
mhm,
point, and I don't know if my grandmother even graduated from high school. I never talked to her about it,
mhm.
but they were resourceful, don't get me wrong. It's just that the education wasn't a priority. I think it was more of being the breadwinner, taking care of your family, where,
Right.
where now we're more educated, so I'm sure that has uh, a difference in the way you respond or act or do, because if you're in the workplace, you certainly can't look like you are at home in the workplace.
Right, right.
you
Yeah,
know
respond, the way you move, like your world view. I
yeah,
mean, we're definitely more mobile. We have many more experiences outside of our immediate community. you-
yeah.
And we're living in the 21st century. We're talking, to strangers that live in other countries,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
That's not that's not odd. That's not strange. That's
yeah.
normal, right?
That's normal because I'm in Indiana and you're in Ohio, and
Right.
that's normal there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's difference. There's a big difference in that matriarch patriarch feel now as it is then. So we'll have to figure that out as we go through Wise Women Slay and see how that all gonna pan out as we move into the future. Because I
Yeah.
think it does lend for some healthy conversations on how we, as older people, respond, and how should we affect change? How should we leave legacy
Hmm.
in this generation? So we'll have to think about that and have more discussion on that. So I got one more question for you. Then we're going to talk about you. So what's your biggest takeaway between age 50 and you're now 56? What has been your biggest takeaway um, in your 50s?
My biggest takeaway between 50 and 56. Oh man, there's so much, but I would say that there's no limits. No limits. And the older I get, the more I realize, the limits you have, and this is very cliche, but are those that you place upon yourself. There are absolutely no limits,
Yes,
you know.
that's good. That I like that. I like that for the fact that um the like you said, the things that go on inside these two ears,
Hmm.
between these two, that's because I had posted something this week and I said, really, as we are doing our lives, and maybe you might have a business or I have a business, or we're doing different maybe ministry opportunities or what have you, and you think that, well, everybody's a coach, you
Hmm.
know, there's a lot of coaches out there. What can I bring to the table?
Hmm.
But you got your own unique style.
Mhm.
You're going to reach the people God has ordained you to reach.
Absolutely.
And even if I might say something to the same people you talk to, some may get what I'm saying and some may not. But
Right.
when you bring your flavor to it, they got it,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And so I realize this, Lord, there is no competition.
None. None.
We put that on ourselves. If we just
Absolutely.
allow ourselves to just do what we are naturally fit and born to do,
Right.
the world opens up to us.
Absolutely. And along those lines about not being, and there not being any limits, is that um, you have to remember, according to who, sometimes we get in our head that we're supposed to do this because it's done that way. Well, why? Why can't you do it your way?
Yeah,
Right? You know, there's no body telling you to do it that way. It's in your head, right?
yeah,
Do what you want to do. Express yourself the way you want to express yourself. And like you said, as a coach, you know, bring what you have inside to the table, and that will be received by who's meant to receive it, right? Just do you.
just
Be
do
you.
you.
Just
Be
be you.
you.
Just be you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great takeaway. That's a great takeaway because, and I think too, like you were talking about when you turned 50 and you said, I loved it, and there was a freedom behind it.
Mhm.
Now you're, as we get older, and you've already said this, you can do you more freely, you
Yeah.
know, and you don't feel there's no limits. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a great time, I believe, to be over 50.
Mhm.
You know, it's a great time at all times, but I don't know. I think I really started feeling, I really started feeling a sense of worth within myself as I started turning 50. Now I'm 63,
Mhm.
but it's just like I feel so confident,
Mm.
you know, and am I accomplishing everything? No, and I don't have to be. And
Right.
it's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It is. It's absolutely okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So awesome. Awesome. So Miss Dena Lynn, tell us about who is Dena Lynn. If somebody was to try to pick apart who you are, what would you tell them?
Oh my gosh. I am resilient, I'm strong and powerful. That's who I am. I have a story behind that.
Okay.
Um, and I feel good about myself because I kind of maneuver through that experiences. When I was in my late 20s, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
Okay.
And that scared the heck out of me
Hmm.
because number one, I didn't know a lot about it. And once I found out about it, you know, how you read, and I scared myself to death. I met people who had it and they were living, they were having a hard time, right? And fortunately, as it turns out, I have what's called relapsing remitting. So at that particular time in my late 20s, in early 30s, I would have flare ups, and they would really be scary. Won't go into all the details. And then I'd get better. So, fortunately, I haven't had a major flare up in years, right? And that's because I took my health into my own hands. But what that taught me is that I could get through, if I got through that, I could get through anything, right? And I had this determination. I mean, people were like, "Oh man, you should get a disability retirement. You'll do." Uh-uh. When I walk out of here, it's going to be on my terms, and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
be walking on my own too, right? And I did. You know, I had started my job. I worked for New York State. So I started my job when I was rather young. So the deal with the retirement and the pension, if you had 30 years of service and you were 55, you were free to go.
Hmm.
So when I turned 55, I left, which was in 2019. I left. At that point, I had 33 years, and I'm so glad. Like now, I did it. I left on my own terms. I have my pension. You know, everything's good. not retired, right?
Mhm.
I trade. I'm a forex trader, so that's what I do to make money as well. And I'm a life coach as well, and I'm a health advocate as well. So I'm doing a lot of things, and I just am free to do all this, and I'm just so glad that I just got through that. So I am resilient, I'm strong, I'm hopeful, I'm powerful, all of that. You know, you talked about your confidence, and that's how I feel. I feel like I can conquer the world, right? Yeah, that just really excites me. I love people, you know, I think people are basically good, intrinsically good, right? And I love to mentor young people, right? Um, yeah, there's always hope. And also, if I were to give a message to a young person, don't let anybody tell you what you need to do, because it's you that's going to have to live with the thing that somebody else told you to live with. And if you really don't want to do that, you're going to regret it,
Mhm.
right? So follow your heart, follow your gut, follow your instinct. It's okay to take counsel, listen to wisdom, but listen to what your voice is telling you, right? Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to live with your choices,
Mhm.
right? And I think it's so important um, that younger people realize that, you know, very important.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, wow. That is awesome. I just love this time that we've had together, that you being our first of many. The rest of the night, we're excited about what we're going to be learning. We've learned a lot from you, and I appreciate you taking the time out to just share who you are, what your beliefs are, how you feel about aging, because we have to really see aging as not as a fearful thing, but an empowering thing,
Mhm.
and so I'm grateful. Well, ladies, we're going to end tonight with Miss Dena, and I know she'll be with us during the whole week, at different points in time. Remember, it's from 7 to 7, excuse me, 7:30 to 8:30. But I'll let Miss Dena go back to her life as Miss Dena Lynn, Mrs., because you're married. Uh,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
yeah, but we're just excited. Thank you so much for being a part of our program tonight, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, Nina. I was happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to the other interviews and learning from the older generation.
I know it's going to be exciting.
So much, yeah, so much wisdom.
Yeah. Okay. See ya.
Thank you.